G'day crew, welcome to Gawn Fantasy. Nice to have your company. It's the Max Gawn edition. Gawn Fantasy brought to you by checkmyrates.au. Visit the website, it's free to use. Take control of your financial future. Brandon and the team will get you a better home loan rate. Just mention Gawn Fantasy. You're tuned in to the podcast. Drew Jones, your host, with you. So I'm under a slight time crunch today, but I wanted to get a podcast out. Just a couple of things that have been floating around, which I think are worth talking about in the fantasy world. A lot of the injury reports have dropped, so make sure you get your heads around all of those. But in particular at Melbourne today, speaking to Stephen King, and I sort of, in the back of my mind, always thought, we'll talk about the Brodie Grundy v Max Gawn matchup, but I have to get a question in there about Max Heath and the setup that the Demons have got with the dual ruck, because the game time for Max Heath has been relatively low. I think 50% last week and 29% the week before, but there's no doubt when people purchase Max Gawn at the start of the season or over the last few weeks replacing Tim English, you wanted someone who was going to come in and have the sole ruck role, and it looked juicy for Gawn with some of the matchups that were in front of him, and then he only puts a mediocre score up against Samson Ryan with the help of Max Heath. So the line of questioning today, just trying to ascertain a bit more about perhaps why Heath is in the team, and I think it was interesting that Stephen King said, well, we had to reward the Moose's performance down at VFL. He'd been the player's player for 4 weeks in a row at Casey. So they had no choice. And then he says, well, it has helped keep Max perhaps a little bit fresher, but also we have to consider the possibility that are we playing Max Heath out of form by playing him such limited time on ground? So he gave us that little window of hope. And I was starting to feel a bit better about everything at that point of the answer. But then at the end, he said, well, we like the look of Max Gawn forward. And against the Tigers, he kicked, I think, 1 goal and he had a couple of other shots at goal. He's never been a particularly reliable set shot, has Gawny, perhaps better from long distance. So, yeah, forward status is probably the best thing that could come out of that situation because it would allow us to move him to the forward line and then bring in another ruck to our ruck division. But his scoring, if he continues to play in the forward line, is clearly going to taper off. So if you manage to avoid Max Gawn and you went Brodie Grundy instead, I think this would not be the time to be buying into him. It seems like Luke Jackson is the better play at your R2 if you're upgrading Lockie McAndrew. And then I guess we just have to hope that Max Heath gets the arse and goes back to the VFL, which will allow Max to play a bit more time on ground. It does seem to make sense from a selection perspective for the Demons to maintain Heath in the team for the matchup with Grundy to try and curtail his influence, because he has been the best ruckman in the comp in recent times alongside Luke Jackson. So a bit to work through there from a Demons perspective, but I loved the stuff on Cozzy Pickett, who he spoke about how in the preseason Pickett said he wanted to be one of the best players in the competition, and being a full-time midfielder was a part of that. So they set him out a plan to say, well, you can't just try kick goals and go forward. You've got to do everything and respect all facets of the game, and he's been able to do that. And he's making himself into a complete player, which has been great for all of us in the fantasy world. Justifies the faith that certainly Gawn Fantasy have had in him in the preseason and right through this early part of the year. So Collingwood today confirmed that Scott Pendlebury won't be playing on Thursday night against Hawthorn, and it seems the likelihood is that he's going to miss 2 of the next 3 games. And I just thought that this was interesting. You think Ned Long comes back into the team for Pendlebury, and I think it really helps with Angus Anderson in terms of job security over the next few weeks. So I think it's, from a fantasy perspective, I think it's going to work for us that Pendles is going to massage his way to his record-breaking game against the Eagles at the MCG in a few weeks' time. So I thought that was something that was noteworthy. And then I didn't get to this news yesterday doing the rage trades, but Tim English looks like he's going to be a test again for Friday night against Jackson. So it probably limits Jackson's ceiling a little bit if Tim English is playing. It also means good news for those who have held Tim, or if you've got him in draft leagues. And then Marcus Bontempelli didn't train and needs to get through his session tomorrow in order to be considered for the game. I don't think he's under any cloud to miss, but just worth monitoring. Again, if you're a Bontempelli owner, Ed Richards, another light session, but again, he's just banged up and sore and just needs a bit of time to recover from multiple rough weeks. I think Tom Liberatore's it's still at least probably another week or two away after that concussion. So, bit of news around the grounds. Josh Smiley injured again, which is a shame at Richmond. So, there's plenty there. So keep your heads across it. We'll do a mailbag shortly as well to keep you in the loop with everything going on. You can flick your questions and everything going on with your teams my way, and we'll have a chat about it over the coming days. Just a quick check-in today. Hope all is well. Catch up soon.